What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Scott Proctor. I'm back with another episode of Straight from the Source, and I have a very, very special guest joining us today, a woman of many firsts, including being the first Black female pro scout in NHL history, Blake Bolden. Blake, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Scott. Glad to be here.
Sure thing. Let's get right into it. I read that after your impressive collegiate career at Boston College, I see you repping the Eagles right now, where you were a team captain and just a flat out star on the ice. You contemplated quitting hockey altogether. If that's right, why was that? And, what kind of brought you back to the game?
Oh man, that takes me back. It was 2013 when I graduated from Boston College, and I really, really, really wanted to go to Sochi for the Olympics. I had that dream ever since I was a little girl. I thought it was perfect timing, 2013, moving on into 2014. And I didn't make the cut. I was told that I'm being taken out of the program, and my whole life kind of just blew up in my face. I had graduated with a degree from a reputable university. I did not know what I wanted to do with my life. I can tell you that right now. If you need to take a gap year, you might want to do that because it comes fast. And I didn't have any clue of what I wanted to do. So I went home, I cried. I had 3 jobs. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. So Cleveland, I love you, but living in Boston, there's a bit of a discrepancy and all the things that I wanted to do. And I got a call from a coach named Digit Murphy, who said, "Hey, Blake, I'm going to draft you first round to the Boston Blades. You need to pack your bags. You need to come back to Boston." And that is when I said, my job isn't done. I love this game. I'm so great at it. And lo and behold, I am where I am today because of that phone call.
100%. You were definitely right. You doubled down, and obviously it paid off massive dividends. As I mentioned at the top, you're a woman of many firsts. You were the first African-American player taken in the first round of the Canadian Women's Hockey League. Then you were the first Black woman to compete in the National Women's Hockey League, where you made multiple All-Star games. Which feat do you kind of cherish more, if at all? And, how do you kind of look back on and, think about those historical accomplishments?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know what feat I feel like I cherish more, because for me, the thing that I cherished the most was just the experiences that I got playing. I have so many teammates that are like 4-time, 5-time medalists and in the Olympics. Like, I have a couple of all-star appearances, and I've played pro women's hockey for 7 years. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the championships I've won, but I think the relationships that I've cultivated, the young boys and girls that I've been able to inspire means way more to me than, a hardest slap shot competition or a trophy that I won, to be honest.
No, that makes sense. And, on to another first year, the first Black female pro scout in NHL history, which is just awesome stuff. How meaningful is that distinction to you? And walk me through a little bit of your day-to-day, what that kind of looks like in LA with the Kings.
Oh man, the day-to-days of a scout, I always like to pinpoint and let people know that it's not the most glamorous job. When you're a scout, you're supposed to be on the road. And when I had started, quite honestly, it was early 2020, going into March. The pandemic hit and life was shut down for everybody. So I feel as though I am still a rookie in my scouting career. It's the first season that we've really been able to get on the road. So managing your time, getting up, planning where you're going to go, prepping, the games that you're about to watch and the game reports that you're putting in after. You just have to be on point, and I'm learning and growing on how to do that. And I ask a lot of my scouting colleagues what their best practices are, because I'm still finding mine.
100%. I kind of want to switch gears a little bit in terms of something you're probably passionate about, something I know you're passionate about. And I'll start here. How do you kind of view diversity at this point in the NHL and really hockey as a whole? And how do you think, that can improve in that regard?
Oh, wow. How I view diversity. I view diversity in many different ways. I think one, diversity in background, in culture, in diversity in thought. I think diversity comes in an array of different forms. But for me, I became the first Black player to play pro women's hockey or to be a Black person to scout in NHL. So I guess for me, that's race in this aspect. There's not a lot of people of color that play at the highest of levels. I believe it's under 3% in the NHL. And I think that is what me, myself, everybody that wants to change the culture in the game want to raise that number. When I started playing hockey, it was because of a happenstance. It was because my mom met a man whose favorite sport was ice hockey, not because I grew up and I thought that I could play ice hockey. So that's kind of the mindset that I would love to change. I would love a young boy or girl to say, hey, I see that sport on TV. How do I start to play that? I see someone that looks like me and that looks really cool. I want to join. So I think for me, that's what diversity looks like.
I heard that you're taking steps in that regard and hopefully improving that, at least from the ground up level. You recently launched a women's hockey mentorship program called EmBolden Her, I believe. And tell me about that initiative and, what's its end goal ultimately?
Yeah, well, its end goal, in my opinion, is for all of these young girls to find out who their inner strengths is, or find out who you are, right? Because my slogan is be bold. It's a part of my last name. It's something that I've always tried to aspire to be. And sometimes I have to check myself and be like, wait, you say you want to be bold, right? And as I was growing up in this sport, I conformed a lot. I wanted to be liked a lot. I was a people pleaser, and I didn't challenge myself and embrace my differences. And I really think that is what these young kids need, especially right now with the distractions that are going on in the world, right? So I want these girls to learn how to be authentically themselves, to have the mindset to overcome any challenge on and off the ice, to learn how to treat their bodies, to learn how to treat other people, and to develop a community for them to feel empowered in speaking their truth, or communicating their feelings. And it's been such a pleasure and an honor to be a part of this group.
No doubt about it. And what does that kind of look like right now? And just in terms of what are you having, what does the mentorship program look like? What are these ladies kind of experiencing?
Yes, so we started in September of 2021. Each month, I am lucky enough to call up a really cool friend to join us. So they get to ask Q&As to these ladies that I've played against. So last month, there was Megan Duggan, who is the leader of all leaders in USA Hockey and women's hockey in general, president of Women's Sports Foundation. So we start with a Q&A with someone who is inspiring. Then we move on to our theme of the day. And that might be mindset coaching, that might be nutrition, that might be mental toughness. All of the things, if you put them in a pot, make you the best player that you can be on and off the ice.
I'm so honored to welcome a Black hockey pioneer here with us today, Blake Bolden. Blake is the first Black player in the National Women's Hockey League and recently hired by the LA Kings to be a scout. She and Mr. Ori have broken barriers and are important figures not only in Black hockey, but in Black history.
Probably last question. I think I seen a video of you not too long ago with Tiffany Haddish for a pretty cool event. Talk to me about that, how cool that was, and kind of what was the story revolving around that.
Yeah, well, with my job, I guess I have a lot of cool perks. I was reached out to by our community relations partner, and he said, Blake, it would be awesome if you could go to Los Angeles City Hall and meet up with Tiffany Haddish, of all people,
Right.
who's a huge hockey fan, and hang out with the Stanley Cup and get honored for the work that you do in the sport. And I'm like, okay, this seems like the most amazing opportunity ever.
No brainer.
So I met Tiffany Haddish. I hung out with the Stanley Cup, and we just spoke on our lives, our journeys. Tiffany told me about how she would bring kids from her neighborhood in South Central LA and bring them to Kings games, and how she's a Kings fan and enjoys hockey. And Tiffany's story is so inspirational as well. So it was really nice to be a part of that day and to get to know her a little bit more off screen, because people on TV, you never know, right? And she is really cool in person. And that was a really fun day for me.
I believe it. Yeah, I saw her quite a bit over the weekend at the NBA All-Star Weekend. It made me think of you, and I would have never pegged her for a hockey fan. So that is certainly cool for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. And she gives back to her community, which I think is even cooler.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Blake, that's all the questions I got for you. This was super awesome. Thanks again so much for joining us. We'll talk soon, and go follow Blake on Twitter, on social media. Follow the work that she's doing. But that's going to do it for us, for Scott Proctor and Blake Bolden. We'll catch you next time.